guys, so I'm more so just going to chat with you guys today and kind of share a little bit about my journey and share some very exciting news with you. And I do this in the hopes that you will understand the importance. And you know, I have a saying about you always have to put in the work, but finding time, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, that you have to be able to practice. If this is something that you're passionate about, if this is something that you want to grow in, being able to give yourself a little self-care. I think that's like a little niche word these days. A little self-care to doing what you love. So with that being said, I wanted to show you how I went from my very first art journal to making the cover of Somerset Studios in, I think, 4 years. So I am on the cover of the May-June 2018 Somerset Studios that will be available wherever this magazine is sold. So for us in the U.S., I know that Barnes & Noble and Books A Million both carry this magazine. I'm sure that there are other places as well as online. You can get it at at Stampington.com. They have these where you can purchase, and you can even do a subscription to that. So I wanted to show you, this is my very first art journal. Okay, so I wanted to share with you first a little bit about how I came upon art journaling. So I grew up with a family. I feel like I need to sit down for this. It's like we're having a cup of coffee. Where is my coffee, by the way? And we're chatting, right? So I grew up with a family of creatives. So my brother plays music by ear. Yeah, not so much. So he does an excellent job, can learn any instrument. He plays everything by ear, and it's phenomenal. I am 7 years younger than him, and my mother is a super talented artist. So I remember being little, and she actually owned a like a little small craft store that carried yarn. She knits, she crochets, she tats lace. She's done porcelain dolls, ceramics, pencil portrait sketches. She's really good at portraits and so forth. And so I grew up thinking that I had no talent. So what I mean by that is, yes, I can chain stitch and crochet. Very little. I actually made this headband. So I could not find my groove. I could not find what I was really good at. And whenever you grow up in a family of super talented people, it is hard for you as a 14-year-old, however, a young adult, to compare their years of experiences, right, and years of talents to your just getting started talents, right? So hopefully you're following me along. So my mom would say, oh, Timmy, you just have to work at it. You just have to put it in the practice. Well, I was like, I just want to be good, right? We just always want to be good. So I was like, man, why did I not bring any water in here? So long story short, life took over. I did start scrapbooking when I was about 12 or 14. Creative Memories was a big deal back then, and I knew someone who knew someone who did the scrapbooking thing, and so I was invited to go to a church function and actually learn about the scrapbooking. I loved it. Something about paper, right? Love paper, cutting it up, and then memory keeping. So I did that for I did that for a while, and then scrapbooking kind of came like something people would spend hours on a one-page spread, and well, I might have undiagnosed ADD, and so that really wasn't something that I wanted to do, was spend hours and hours on a spread. I was like, let's slap it down, put the photo on, write a little story, and all is good, right? So let's skip ahead. I actually just donated a bunch of stuff to Goodwill. It's been following me along years after years after years. You know how it is, ladies. So let's cut to the chase. So as I grew my career, also up the corporate ladder, right, also comes additional stresses. And I'd seen like people with the Cricut things. I bought one of those. I had 2 houses at the time, and I lived in a 5th wheel trailer, which, by the way, is small. And so I kind of had to put that on the back burner. And then we moved. That was about 6 years ago, 7 years ago. We moved into a house over here where I work at now. And I had this extra guest room. So I was like, well, maybe I started making jewelry. Mom was like, hey, Tiffany, I picked up these beads. Would you make me a necklace? So I started dabbling in jewelry making. And then I wanted to make my own beads. And so I did that with polymer clay. And I happened to be in a bookstore, and I noticed that there was a book from this lady. I can't even find the book right now. But it was how to take inspiration from art journaling to jewelry, and kind of how she used the textures and the colors and inspiration from her art journal and then moved it into jewelry making. So I bought the book. It was like $1, $2, I don't know. And it sat on my shelf for a while until I had a conversation with my boss, and he was like, Tiffany, you really need to find a stress reliever. Well, I started making lamp work beads, and lamp work is glass, and you have to have a torch. And well, I live in the South, so it is hot as hellfire damnation out there, okay? So the reality was, when it got hot, there was no way I could make beads. Like, it's just too hot. So, long story short, I started dabbling with an art journal. Along came this, okay? So this is a children's book that I altered. And I took the scrapbook stuff that I still had, right? And I covered it and all this. And this was the very first art journal spread I ever did. And I did not date it, but I did date the next one, I think. Let's see. Oh, my Lord. I mean, vulnerable here, guys. This was my first face I ever did. It's pretty bad. And then this was 2014. So yeah, this was like, it was the end of 2013, the beginning of 2014. I remember having the flu, and I started playing in my art journal. So, I'm not going to show you all these horrendous pages in here, but they are pretty rough. The point to my story is, now I have filled up probably 7 art journals since this one. So I put in a lot of work. It was a stress reliever. It was just something that I could do to, get whatever I needed out. And that's where art journaling came to be. So now let's fast forward 7 journals later, right? And I've probably done thousands, at least 1,000, if not more, pages of art journaling. And now I'm on the cover of Somerset. So I'm telling you this in hopes that you will realize that your journey and where you are today may not be where you were 6 months ago if you work really hard, or maybe you put art journaling to the side and you said, you know what, I'm not an artist. Well, guess what? Tiffany is telling you, you absolutely are an artist, and you need to grab your paints. If you feel the urge, the call to slap down paint, to play whatever it is that you find, that maybe it's just writing, maybe you need to write and memory keep, and that's a form of art, journaling as well. So I urge you not to judge where I am 4 years later to where you are today. And I also want to encourage you to submit to magazines like this. So I have another, I'll be in the gallery section of Art Journaling magazine. I believe it's June or July. And I submitted, so my first one I talked about in a video too. I was published, and then this was the second one, and I have 2 tutorials inside of this one, and then I submitted to Art Journaling, and I have it coming out in the gallery. So my point to the story is you have to put yourself out there, okay? So you can't just sit at home and well, I guess you can, but if you want to be able to really, the first time that I was published, it really was like validating to me that, wow, not only are your friends really saying, oh, Tiffany, they love your stuff, not only are you guys who watch my videos every week saying, oh, Tiffany, I like your stuff, but now everybody has a publication with me in it, and it really validated me and gave me much more confidence than what I did. I don't paint faces regularly. So the fact that out of the 2 submissions I submitted, this one made the cover, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not terrible at faces. This is pretty decent. The world says it's okay, and now I'm on the front of a magazine. So guys, I am super excited to join you this Friday. I hope I leave you with some encouragement to let you know that anything is possible if you're willing to do it and put your mind to it. So I hope you grab those paints, get down to business, and have some fun. Remember guys, it's not rocket science. It's just art. Go out there, have a blast, and if you feel like sharing it on social media, I would love for you to tag me. My Instagram link's below. Find me on Facebook. I love to encourage other artists, and I love the encouragement that I'm not crying, guys. My eyes just started watering. I love the encouragement in the community, the art community out there. It is a great place for you to feel more confident in sharing your work, because guess what? You have cheerleaders out there like me who want to see it. So I hope you'll click the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and leave me a comment. Love you guys. Until next time, toodaloo.